So we're looking at the exam scenario stuff. Toys are you, and it's all about the different orders you need to put together and all the different documents, financial documents that need to be completed for this kind of scenario. And when you do the exam, there may be several financial documents you need to complete that all relate to sort of like the one business. So Toys R You is a business that buys children's toys from wholesalers. So wholesalers are obviously their suppliers, and they are obviously the purchaser in this kind of arrangement. And Toys R You are putting together a purchase order for task one. They're buying their goods from a company called Rizzle Toys, so it's a business-to-business transaction. And they are based, Rizzle Toys are based in Pennine Street in Birmingham. So their last order number was 00675, and now now Toys R You wish to order these things from Rizzle Toys. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is put the Rizzle Toys address in there. So if you've given an address for a purchase order question, you always need to put the address in where it says to. The order number is not 00675 because that says the last order number used was this. The next order number will obviously be an increment of 1, which will make it 00676. And I just put today's date in because it might be worth just filling the date column out. And then what I did was I put 60 action men, 60 quantity of 60, that's the name, the price per unit, and the reference number. And that all comes from this line of information here. All right, and I did the same thing for all the others. So all that information is pretty clear, and I think you can get a mark just for getting that right. So we got to work out the total price, then what I did was I multiplied the unit price, £4.95, by 60, because that's the quantity ordered. We get the total price for those. And I did that for all the other products. So using the calculator, I did that. And then to get the subtotal, we just add these three total prices together to get your subtotal. All right. So it's pretty simple addition there using your calculator. To work out the VAT, I'm just going to go through that again. So we've got 1,709.6. We're going to multiply that by 0.2 by 20%. We get £341.92. So that is the extra 20% of this original price that needs to be added. And the total is literally adding that 20% to the £1,709.60. So all I do is I got the VAT already stored in the calculator. I add 1709.6. There you go. 205,152. And I've signed it. I just put J Smith in there, made up a name. So those are usually 6-mark questions. So that would be 6 marks in the entire exam just by doing all that correctly. Like finding the right information, putting it in, doing some very basic calculations, nothing too extensive. And there you go, you've got that. The next thing is a delivery note, which is even simpler. So we're just going to write. So this is coming from Rizzle now. So obviously the purchase order was sent from Toys R You to Rizzle, asking for these products. And then Rizzle Toys have now delivered. So this is from them. They have put down the item number, the quantity, and the description. They've put the order number, which is the purchase order that was sent to them, and they've put the date of delivery. And then I've made up some details there. Obviously, put the date of delivery down again. So that again is a really straightforward one. I think you probably only get about 2 or 3 marks for a purchase or for a delivery note question. And there's a question then which is quite important. What is the purpose of the delivery note? Well, pretty much this. It's used by customers who receive the goods to check the goods off and ensure they match the purchase order. So to make sure that the quantities that we've ordered from the purchase order have been matched, right? And that when we open the box, these quantities are actually there. So it's just checking everything's been done properly. Is it sent from the purchaser to the supplier or the supplier to the purchaser? It's sent from the supplier to the purchaser. A delivery note comes with the delivery, so it's come from the supplier, not to the purchaser. Not from the purchaser, sorry. So that's pretty straightforward. We then get a question about invoicing, task 3. And that is, again, almost identical to the purchase order. I mean, a few of the columns are different, but it's literally the same calculations. You've got price per item, quantity, description, reference number from the catalogue. So the total price again is the £4.95 multiplied by 60. We get £297. We get all of that there. And it's pretty much the same calculations as the purchase order. We get a subtotal by adding all those together. We multiply the subtotal by 0.2, which gives us 20% of the subtotal, £341.92, and I've just demonstrated that a few minutes ago. And then we get the total, which is these two added together. Now, you might find it bizarre that it's almost the same thing. It is, but the invoice is different from the purchase order. The purchase order is the bit where you say, "Hi folks, this is what we want to order from you." They put the order together, it gets sent to you. The invoice is once you've said, "Okay, we've received the goods, we've ticked off, we've sent a confirmation of delivery, or we've sent confirmation the delivery note is correct and the goods have all been received." We then receive an invoice at the end of the month. So the invoice, this document here, comes at the end of the financial month saying, "You've ordered these things from us, we want you to pay for them." So what's the purpose of the invoice? So a request for payment can be sent to the supplier, from the supplier, sorry, to the purchaser. So they are basically posting this to you saying, "You owe us this money, can you please pay for it?" So it's a request for payment sent from the supplier, which is Rizzle Toys, to the purchaser, which is Toys R U. Is it sent from the purchaser to the supplier or the supplier to the purchaser? I've already said supplier to the purchaser. What problems might Rizzle Toys face if they send out incorrect invoices? So the purchaser may pay the incorrect amount because they've got the wrong invoice and they might pay less, for example. This could result in cash flow problems. So any time you get less money back from what you're expecting, you've got cash flow problems because you've not got an inflow to match your projected outflows. So there's less money coming in, you might have to borrow money, for example. So even maybe £100 difference could affect the cash flow of your business. So it's always a good thing to say cash flow problems. And finally, there's a couple of defects in the order. So we've got a credit note, which is, as I said in previous videos, it's a document that the supplier sends to the purchaser saying that you are entitled to a certain amount of credit. So it's not refunded back to them, but what they can do is they can have £119 worth of stock for free. So what I've done, I've looked here and I've got 10 of the Action Men and 5 of the craft sets don't work. I've put the wrong code in there. That's a mistake. It should be the reference number for the craft set, and the craft set was CS432. Oh dear. CS432. That was from the order number. So what order number does it come from? So to relate it to a particular invoice where there's an issue, and then what the price of the unit is, and what the value being credited back to the company is. Now, this, as I said, doesn't always go straight back into the bank account of the purchaser. It could be just an open tab. So next time they order things, they don't have to pay for them, or they don't have to pay £119.34 out of whatever they order next. Say if it's a regular supply deal, that may be the case. It's just like we won't charge you £119.34 out of maybe £500 worth of an order you put together. So that's what a credit note is. They send it obviously to the purchaser saying, "Look, we owe you this money. You can either claim it back or you can have it off your next order." It's the same thing again. Subtotal worked out by adding these two numbers together. VAT worked out by multiplying this number by 0.2, which is representative of 20%, and a refunded amount, which is the VAT plus the subtotal. And that is your credit note. What's the purpose of it? So that a sum of money owed can be used later to buy goods or discounted against another purchase from the same seller, and it's sent from the supplier to the purchaser. And I think that is the end of this particular section, so no more videos for a little bit, and there'll be a couple more, I think, later on in the document.